Right now, while you're sitting there, your body is holding on to something it refuses to let go of. A reserve of fat. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. It doesn't matter. What matters is that your body is guarding it like treasure, slowing you down, fighting you every time you try to lose it, saving it for an emergency that is almost certainly never going to come. You probably think of that as a problem, a modern one, something gone wrong, with you, with your willpower, with your metabolism. It isn't. That body of yours, the one so stubbornly good at storing fat, is the exact same body your ancestors had. Identical machinery. The same genes, the same hunger, the same instinct to hold on. And they wore it for 2 million years without ever getting fat. Not because they were better than you. Not because they tried harder. They were lean for their whole lives, and most of them never thought about it once. So here's the question this whole video is going to chase. If your ancestors had the same fat-storing body you do, and they couldn't get fat, then what actually changed? Why couldn't they get fat? And why can't you stop? Start with the body itself, because we've got it completely backwards. We treat body fat like a malfunction. It's the opposite. It might be the single greatest survival tool your species ever built. Think about the world your ancestors actually lived in. No fridge, no next meal you could count on. You ate when the hunt went well or the gathering was good, and then you might eat almost nothing for days. Feast, then famine, then feast again, over and over for 100,000 generations. In a world like that, fat is life. Fat is a battery. Every spare calorie your body could pack away after a good day was a calorie that carried you through the bad ones, through the cold, the drought, the long, hungry stretch when there was nothing to find. The people whose bodies were greedy, who hoarded every surplus, walked out the other side of winter. The ones who didn't. In 1962, a geneticist named James Neel gave this idea a name. He called it the Thrifty gene, the notion that we're descended from the great survivors of starvation, bodies finely tuned to store, to save, to cling to every ounce. And here's the part that should change how you look in the mirror. You are the result. You come from an unbroken line of the most efficient fat storers who ever lived. That stubborn reserve you can't shift? It's a championship trait. It's the whole reason your family tree didn't quietly end in some famine 10,000 years ago, which only deepens the mystery. If your ancestors had this same hoarding, fat-loving body, the same one you're fighting in the mirror, then why in 2 million years were they almost never fat? The obvious answer is the one you've probably already landed on. Of course they were lean. Look at how they lived. No couches, no cars, no desk jobs. They walked all day, ran down prey, dug for roots, hauled everything on their backs. They burned it off. Case closed. It's the most reasonable guess in the world. And a scientist named Herman Pontzer went and measured it and found out it's wrong. Pontzer is an evolutionary anthropologist, and he spent years with the Hadza, a people in Tanzania who still live by hunting and gathering, much the way humans did for almost all of our history. The Hadza don't go to the gym. Their entire life is the gym. The women walk around 5 miles a day. The men, closer to 9, more than most of us cover in a week of errands. So Pontzer expected their bodies to be furnaces, burning through enormous numbers of calories a day. They weren't. When he measured how much energy the Hadza actually burned in a day and lined it up against office workers in America and Europe, adjusting for body size, the numbers came out basically the same. The hunter who walked 9 miles burned about the same daily energy as someone sitting at a desk in Chicago. Sit with that, because it breaks the thing nearly everyone believes. The Hadza aren't lean because they burn more. Your body, it turns out, runs on a roughly fixed energy budget. Work it harder, and it quietly economizes somewhere else, dialing down other systems behind the scenes to balance the books. The activity didn't make them lean. And still, fewer than 2 in 100 Hadza adults are even mildly overweight, while in the United States, more than 7 in 10 adults are. Same species, opposite outcome. And it isn't the exercise. So if it's not how much they moved, it has to be something about the food. And here's the thing about the food your ancestors ate. It fought back. Picture a real meal from that world. A wild root, dug out of hard ground, so woody and full of fiber the Hadza chew the starch out of some of them and spit the rest out. A piece of lean, wild game. A handful of berries behind thorns, leaves, seeds. The rare, lucky find of honey. Every single bite came loaded with fiber and water and protein, and almost none of it came easy. That matters because of how hunger actually works. Your appetite isn't really counting calories. One of the biggest things it hunts for is protein. There's an idea called protein leverage from the researchers Simpson and David Raubenheimer that says you'll keep eating until you hit your protein target. And only then does your body finally say, enough, stop. On a wild diet, that break works perfectly. The food is so bulky, so filling, so packed with protein and fiber that you slam into full long before you could ever eat too much. Your stomach runs out of room before your body runs out of reasons to stop. That's the secret your ancestors never knew they had. It was never willpower keeping them lean. They didn't have some iron discipline you're missing. Nobody does. They had food with a break built into it. You physically could not sit down and overeat a pile of raw tubers and lean meat. Your body would tap out every time, long before it ever became a problem. Now hold that idea, food that stops you, right next to the world you actually live in. Because we did something no other creature has ever done. We learned to take that food apart. We strip out the fiber. We grind the grain into soft white flour. We pull out the oils, concentrate the sugar, engineer the texture until it barely needs chewing. We build foods that slide down in seconds and carry 2, 3, 4 times the calories of anything in nature, with none of the bulk that used to tell your body to stop. We didn't just invent junk food. We invented food that defeats the off switch your ancestors survived on. And we know, for a fact, exactly what it does, because somebody ran the experiment. In 2019, a scientist at the National Institutes of Health named Kevin Hall took 20 people and moved them into a research ward where every bite they ate could be controlled and counted. Each person spent 2 weeks eating ultra-processed food and 2 weeks eating whole, unprocessed food. And here's the clever part. The 2 diets were matched, the same calories on offer, the same sugar, the same fat, the same protein, even the same fiber on paper. They could eat as much or as little as they liked. On the ultra-processed food, they ate 508 calories more per day. Nobody told them to. They didn't feel like they were stuffing themselves, just more, every single day. Because the food slipped straight past the fullness signal that had guarded human beings for 2 million years. In 2 weeks, they gained about 2 pounds. The whole food group, eating all they wanted, lost about the same. Read that again. The only thing that changed was whether the food was processed, not the calories on the menu, not willpower, not character. The food itself reached into people and turned their appetite up. And they never even felt it happen. That is what you're up against. It wasn't an accident. It was built deliberately to beat the exact system that kept every ancestor you've ever had alive and lean. Which brings us to the cruelest piece of evidence of all. And it isn't from a lab. It's from real people, alive right now. In the Sonoran Desert, split across the border between the United States and Mexico, live the Pima. They're one people, one gene pool, relatives separated only a few generations ago by little more than a line on a map. The geneticists checked it directly. They're the same population, but they live in 2 different worlds. On the Mexican side, up in the mountains, many Pima still live close to the old way. Hard physical work, simple traditional food. Obesity there is uncommon. Diabetes runs at a fraction of the rate. On the Arizona side, living the modern American life, eating the modern American diet, the Pima became one of the heaviest, most diabetic populations ever recorded on Earth. The rate of type 2 diabetes among the Mexican Pima is less than 1/5 of what it is among their own cousins in Arizona. Same genes, the same ancient, thrifty, fat-storing body. 2 different worlds, and only one of them makes you sick. It was never the genes. It was never the people. It was always the world you drop that body into. And there's the whole story sitting right in front of you. You are not broken. Your body isn't weak or greedy or failing you. It's a brilliant survival machine, 2 million years in the making, doing precisely the job it was built to do. Hold on to every calorie because the famine always came. It's doing everything right. The only problem is that the famine stopped coming, and nobody told your body. It's still bracing for a winter that modern life will never send. Your ancestors were never fat because their world simply would not let them be. You're not weak because yours will not let you stop. Same body, same hunger, the same ancient machine still running perfectly inside you, just dropped without warning into a world it was never built for. Your ancestors didn't get a choice about the world they lived in. You're the first humans who do.